right. Well, hello, everyone. Welcome. I am Stacy Feil, president of ICF Heartland, and I am here today with life and career coach Sarah Uchytil. Sarah, thank you so much for being here with me today. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Stacy. I'm just thrilled to be here and excited to have this opportunity today.
So tell us what you do as a life coach, as a career coach. I know you also do wellness coaching.
Yes. So I'm kind of this potpourri of coaching, and I'm grateful that I've been a full-time coach for the last 7 years. And, my journey as a coach, has definitely evolved. But where I am in my business right now, I would say about 60% of my business is focused on career coaching, career transition, really helping people that are feeling really stuck in their careers, helping people that are, navigating that job search, really trying to figure out what it is that they want to do next in their career. And, I work with them on, writing that ideal job description, getting really clear on, what is their personal branding statement, what is their value message, editing and polishing their LinkedIn profile, setting up that networking strategy, and but really doing like the mock interviews. Like mock interviews is actually one of my favorite things to do as a coach. And my clients typically tell me, they're like, your interview was a lot harder than the actual. I was like, good, I'm glad. And then they get the job. So, salary negotiation, goal setting. So, I really enjoy that type of work. But over the last few years, I've gotten more into wellness coaching. So I've been practicing yoga myself for the last 21 years. And when I graduated from my corporate job in 2014 and started coaching full-time in 2015, my friend and yoga instructor told me, she's like, this would be a great time for you to get your yoga teacher training. And I was like, okay, but I don't have like the perfect yoga body. She's like, but yoga's for every body and every body type. So I got my teacher training, and then 2 years after that, in 2017, I started leading wellness retreats that incorporate yoga and meditation and life coaching, and it's just a really unique blend of, tying my purpose and with my passion too. And then I also do, some leadership coaching, really helping leaders to, elevate into that next leadership position, and then life coaching too, just helping clients on, identifying and zapping energy drains, creating that vision board, that vision statement for their life, helping them to get really clear on their needs, their values, and, setting those specific goals on what it is that they really want to do next. So yeah, I feel like I have this great, potpourri of services to offer. So
yeah. So I want to go back to the career coaching in a minute, but before I do that, how has your training, what training have you had that's given you the confidence and the skill set to be able to do so much as a coach?
yeah, so when I started my coaching journey, and the reason that I became a coach is I worked with a coach myself in 2007. I had a big corporate job, and I was just, feeling like, that hamster on a wheel and just running and running. And a friend of mine told me she was working with a coach and was getting great results. So when I, a few years later, when I started like this journey, this coaching journey, I started researching schools and programs. So I got my, I like to say, my undergraduate degree from Coach U. And then I knew that I wanted to be part of the ICF, just because I knew that that was the gold standard in coaching. And for me personally, like I was shifting from a career in accounting, finance, and business consulting, shifting to this coaching. Both my parents are teachers, so like education has always been, one of my core values and a cornerstone. So that was one of the criteria that I was really looking for when I was researching coaching schools and programs. And, the one thing I liked about the ICF and all the coaches that I interviewed prior to, really diving into this new career for myself, they said, the ICF just gives you the best training. It gives you that continuing education, and it gives you that solid baseline to be able to coach upon. So that's why I feel like I have the confidence to do career coaching, life coaching, leadership coaching, wellness coaching. I mean, because really for me, and I'm sure a lot of other ICF coaches feel the same way, but it really boils down to, I think, 3 things: is really listening to our clients, really being able to ask those powerful questions and to be their accountability partner to keep them on track and accountable to get them where they want to go. So, and I mean, all the other competencies are great too, but for me, it always boils down to those top three.
Mm. So if we could jump back to your career coaching, right now we're coming off of a year of COVID. There's a lot of uncertainty still in the world about, going back to work. Many people have taken a break from work. Not to mention those that are working remotely that are considering or maybe have re-entered the physical workspace again. What are your clients facing right now? What's the biggest challenge that you find yourself addressing because of this last year that we've had?
Oh gosh, this last year, I just feel like it has just been a wild roller coaster ride. And, I was grateful that I was able to, help so many people navigate, a job loss and, really helping them to figure out what is next in their career, really listening to them to help them to, uncover or rediscover their unique skills and talents that they have, and, how to apply that to what they want next. So, what really just helping them to create that vision of what does that next chapter of their life and their career look like? Do you want to continue to stay working from home? Do you want to re-engage going back into the office, or do you want a hybrid mix? And also, and again, that's why I'm grateful that I have, this meditation training too, to really help clients be in the right mindset, because really this last year has just done just so much to us mentally. It's just been mentally draining on so many ways. And I think, through meditation, it helps us to get that clarity and that focus for us. And, I'm grateful to be able, to be the guide to get my clients to where they want to go.
So you mentioned that the uniqueness that your clients can offer. One of the great things about coaching, as you know, is it teaches us to find people's strengths.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
Really, right. So when it comes to strengths, how do you elicit that as a coach? What's your favorite skill or technique for eliciting a person's strengths?
To understand their strengths. Well, one of my favorite assessments that I love to use is the VIA character strengths. And so I know that's one that's popular with a lot of coaches too. I love that. Other assessments, but it's like, really asking those questions of, reflecting back on your career, what was your favorite role? Or, what do you feel really proud of accomplishing? And, I like to think of, our strengths too. It's like, if you could pack for a trip, what would you put on your carry-on bag? Your carry-on bag, those are the things that you really want to take with you. So, asking questions like that in more of a creative way, instead of just saying, tell me what your top 5 strengths are. So, because it's like, we can be really strong at something, but we may not really want to use it every day too.
Yeah. Yeah. And so again, that kind of speaks to that wellness aspect that you were talking about, that awareness of ourselves. And so you had mentioned sort of percentages in the beginning of how much you do of one and the other. Do you have a lot of crossover between, some of your clients maybe hire you to help their career, but then decide, oh, hey, I want to go to one of these retreats?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And it is a really unique blend too, because again, going back to the ICF and the training, it's like, we're trained to, coach the whole person. But I know sometimes, and sometimes clients will be like, okay, I just really need help with this area of my life, or, like my job is just really draining. So it's like, sometimes that is like the easiest, pain point to identify. And then when we start, peeling back the onion, it's like, okay, what else is out of balance in your life? Other assessments, like using the Wheel of Life assessment is a great one. It's like, where is there a flat tire? And it's like, how can we, fill that piece of your tire too?
Yeah. So what made you talked about leaving your corporate career. What made you decide that coaching was, you did some research, you looked into it. Was there one thing that made you decide this is what I want to do?
Well, I mean, I love the fact of, that I get to own my own business. I love that I get to, set my own schedule, be able to work with clients that I really want to work with. And, I had an amazing career. I was with Sprint for 13 years, and I'm so grateful for that. And, I really leverage a lot of like my business background to help me to run a business too, because it's like, you could be a great coach, but it's also running a business. So it's really
Mm.
pairing those two together. So for me, it was just like, okay, I think this is a great opportunity for me to really, serve and support other people, to help them, to empower them to live their best life and do their ideal work while, providing me with the financial freedom and abundance to live my best life.
So let's talk about that a little more. That's something that I think, a lot of coaches and not just coaches, a lot of people think, oh, I'm going to start a business and it's going to be great. I'll be my own boss, I'll make all this money. But there's some challenges and there's some struggles.
Oh, yes, there are challenges.
Right? And tell us how you've gotten to the point you are, and what's really led to your success as an entrepreneur business person.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, I've had some amazing mentor coaches. And again, part of, the ICF training, if you're getting your ACC, your PCC, working with a mentor coach for the, I think it's 10 hours for each one. And, in working with my mentor coach, it was, one was all about, business building. One session was all about skill building. And the other one was just about, making sure my personal foundation was intact and continuing to move forward. So that was really helpful, and just meeting other coaches through the ICF Heartland chapter, learning best practices, learning, what works well, successes, failures, things that you'd want to, tweak and adjust and do differently. And yeah, I mean, for the last 7 years, it hasn't always been sunshine and roses. I think it was like years 2 and 3. I said like every 4-letter word that you want. I'm like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
But again, it's just, knowing that I'm truly in the driver's seat of my life and my career. Important.
So tell us about your referral partners. How does that work? Do you have other coaches that you work with? As a business, as a solopreneur, sometimes, it is hard to do it yourself. And I'm wondering how much you delegate and what that partnership, those collaborative relationships might look like with other coaches or perhaps other professionals in other industries.
Yeah, I mean, I love networking, and that is one thing that over this last year, I felt like, okay, everything kind of shut down from that standpoint, but, being able to be on, virtual Zoom meetings, still being able to grow and connect. And, but for me, it's like a lot of, my business comes from referrals. I'm very active on LinkedIn, doing Celebration Friday posts, video posts, just creating that awareness of like, what is coaching and what are the benefits?
Yeah. And so I'm curious, and you can say pass on this if you want to, because this might get a little personal, but you are very active on LinkedIn. I see your videos a lot. I'm wondering if there was, how did you navigate that hurdle from I'm working for someone else to now I have to self-promote. Now I have to put myself out there and talk about myself and ask for the work. Yeah. Ask people to hire me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was definitely a huge hurdle that I had to overcome. And that was something that, I worked on with my mentor coach, for many sessions. It wasn't just one session. I was like, okay, I'm ready to go, because it's like for 18 years, I would go to a corporate office. I'd go to my cubicle. I'd turn on my laptop. I'd, crank out numbers. I'd go to meetings, but, I wasn't in sales. Like, that is one thing that was probably my biggest hurdle that I had to overcome was, again, just ramping up my own confidence and being a coach and, selling my services and knowing the value, the significant value that I provide to others as a coach.
Yeah,
And
I think
it was
that's,
also, working with other business owners and entrepreneurs. So, my teacher who owns the yoga studio, I have other friends that have other, small businesses too. And, really learning from them too. I'm like, okay, what are your best practices?
mm,
How do you promote yourself? And I mean, I even took a video marketing class in 2019 because I had a really bad Facebook Live fail. And I was like, oh my gosh, I was like, I had to delete it as soon as it came up. But again, it's just like, that's how we grow. It's like,
right,
overcoming obstacles. And I think the more you do it, the more confident you get as well.
right. So when you look at your day, and maybe it's a week or a month,
Mhm.
besides developing your coaching skills, that continuous learning, and your actual sessions with clients, where do you spend the rest of your time, outside of those two things?
Sure, sure. Yeah. I still, practice, my yoga and my meditation. I think that is one thing that really helps, keep me grounded, centered, focused, spending time with my friends, with my family, and just really just living my life. So I think
Yeah,
it's again, just, I think it's, having that balanced life so we can, show that to our clients as well.
yeah. What's one piece of advice that you would give a new coach starting out that you wish you would have gotten?
Oh gosh, that is a great question. I think it is just keep doing it.
Mm,
Just keep going, just keep growing, having the confidence, really making sure that your why statement is front and center. I have that in my office. I have like a bulletin board, like I do like a weekly gratitude. I have that posted, I like the push pins. So I like write it down every week, post it on there. So I see that every day. I have my vision board for the whole year. So it's like, I really practice what I preach too.
mm,
And I think as a new coach, just knowing that it's not going to, flip the switch
mm.
overnight. And, I, had a very successful corporate career, and, it took me a while to get back to where I was, but it's like I knew that this was a journey that I wanted to go on.
Mm.
And again, just, surrounding myself with, like-minded people, cheerleaders that keep, cheering me on too, is very important too.
Yeah. So you mentioned something there, that you have your vision board for the year. So it
Mhm.
sounds like perhaps you do some yearly planning, maybe
I
some
do.
strategic planning. Can you talk a little bit about what that process is for you?
Sure, sure. So, gosh, probably for the last uh, 7 years, like every year, I've like picked a word to help keep me grounded and focused and moving forward. But over the last few years, I pick three now. And, those are kind of like my guiding principles. And then for the last 2 years, I've done led a vision board workshop. This year we did it virtually. And, it was great to be able to, cut out pictures and images and phrases and, have that, goal setting on, okay, this is what I want for my physical life. This is what I want, emotionally, mentally, financially, spiritually, looking at all the different spokes of our life and, having specific goals on that and having those visual representations on my vision board too.
Yeah. So really, really practicing what you preach.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So we are almost out of time. 20 minutes always goes so
Wow.
fast.
Yes.
Yeah. Um, how did you get involved with ICF Heartland?
Well, again, when I got connected with Coach U, and I just found the local chapter. My mentor coach was like, find your local ICF chapter. If this is where you want to go, there'd be a great resource for you to keep moving forward. So yeah, I've really enjoyed the community of coaches, the training, the camaraderie, and just looking forward to seeing how the rest of this year unfolds and continuing to move forward.
Yeah. Well, how can people get in touch with you?
Yeah, so there are a few ways that you can get in touch with me. You can connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm Sarah Uchytil. You can connect with me on Facebook. I'm Sarah U, just the letter U, coach. You can also visit me on my website, which is sarahucoach.com. And those are the ways that you can stay in touch with me.
right, wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Sarah. There's always so much more we could talk about. Thank you for your time and all your information and all that you do as a coach. It's such important work that you do. So we are out of time, and this is our last International Coaching Week Coach Chat for this year. Thank you, Sarah, for closing it out for us. We will do this again next year. And for those of you who maybe missed some of our interviews, they are all on our YouTube page and our YouTube channel. And you can find those links on our website and our Facebook and LinkedIn pages. So we will see you all next time.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
All right. Thank you so much, Stacy.
Bye-bye.